Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture. I'm, of course, your host, TJ West. As always, I just want to start out by saying how much I love doing this. It's very therapeutic. And as a Pisces who's very obsessed with feelings, it's nice to just kind of have a chat with all of the lovely people out there in my phone about feelings and pop culture and how pop culture reflects our feelings and allows us to sort of grapple with those things about ourselves, maybe that we don't always want to admit consciously. Anyway, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about romance and about my own book, Country Road Romance. I don't have the cover with me today, but just remember it's Country Road Romance. You can buy it on Amazon, Barnes& & Noble, bookshop.org. It's a great, or at least I think it's great, romance set West Virginia. So please, if you do want to buy it, please do so. Country Road Romance, check it out on Amazon. It is available for pre-order, releases June 1st. So anyway, when I was thinking about the book, and I've been reading also this wonderful book called A Bond Me for Two, which is the reading choice for our Queer Romance Book Club this month, I've been thinking a lot, because obviously this has to do with food and, the importance of, Vietnamese cuisine to both of the protagonists, and I've been thinking a lot about, why food is so important to the romance genre. And, I think it's especially vital when you're dealing with locations that have very specific cuisines. And to bring this to my own work in Appalachia, there's a lot of things that we have there that are sort of delicacies, if you will, or at least distinctive to our region. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking about, the stereotypes of possum and all that kind of, and roadkill and all that. Let me assure you that that is not typical Appalachian cuisine. We're not savages in West Virginia, despite the claims that I see from some people, including on some of my prior videos. Instead, I want to talk about a few kind of food items that I've brought up in Country Road Romance, but also that I'm going to keep bringing up in my other subsequent romance novels. So in Country Road Romance, one of the key moments that Jared and Charlie share together is making cherry jam. And I brought that in because canning is a really important part of Appalachian culture, also part of rural culture in general, but very much part of Appalachia. And I have some really happy memories of canning with my own dad. And so I really wanted to capture that important sort of food moment. And it's also this sort of moment for Charlie, who's the outsider. He comes from Hollywood. Even though he's from West Virginia, he's been living in Hollywood. And so it gives him the chance to see Jared relate with his parents outside of this format of the film festival and all the drama associated with that. So in that sense, cuisine or food in a romance narrative typically can offer the characters a chance to sort of bond over the shared experience of eating. I don't want to get too metaphysical about it, even though again this is the Pisces Guide to Pop Culture, so that would be very on brand. But there's something almost spiritual about eating together. It's a moment of sort of bonding, and also cooking together is very profoundly, I think, romantic, or at least can be, and be also erotic. So obviously that's a key part of the story that I am writing. Now, there are a couple of other food items from West Virginia that I haven't yet incorporated, but hope to in future volumes. One of them is, of course, the pepperoni roll. And, West Virginia has some dubious claims to history, but I think that it's pretty cut and dry, at least according to Wikipedia and other, verified sources, that West Virginia can lay claim to the pepperoni roll. And if you're not familiar with what a pepperoni roll is, it's basically, at least in my neck of the woods, we take frozen bread dough, let it thaw out, wrap up some pepperoni and mozzarella in it, let it rise, pop it in the oven for a good, 10, 20 minutes. And out comes this delicious roll filled with pepperoni and cheese, and all the juices melt together, and it's just this lovely snack that you can keep best when they're fresh, but you can also eat them cold. They are, anytime I've shared them with people outside of West Virginia who had never heard of them, they are always a hit. So if you love pepperoni rolls as much as I do, I think you should make some. And of course, apples are also a big West Virginia thing. You may not know that, but we actually are the home of both the Grimes Golden and, even more importantly, the Golden Delicious. So there you have it. There are two food items that are very distinctly West Virginia, the pepperoni roll and the Golden Delicious. Obviously, Mountain Dew has its sort of association, but it doesn't originate in West Virginia. It's the stereotype. So in future books, as I sort of continue to expand the palette of my Appalachian queer romances, I really want to draw in more of these food items, because I do think that in addition to being sort of sharing and spiritual moments and bonding romantic moments, I think that cuisine says a lot about where these stories are taking place, and they can add not just local color, but sort of immerse you in the milieu that these characters are living in and working in and loving in. And I'm very devoted and committed to sort of conveying what I think of as an authentic portrait and a complicated portrait of Appalachia. I think it's very easy for people to make fun of our region and to dismiss it, particularly states like West Virginia. But I'm here to say that there's a lot of good stories there, and I hope to use food as one potential avenue. I don't know, I haven't really thought this through, but I'm imagining a future story of a baker whose specialty is pepperoni rolls, and he falls in love with someone who comes into a shop. I don't know. I haven't really thought this through much yet, but who doesn't love a baker gay romance set in Appalachia? Like, it has all the ingredients of a successful bestseller. So who knows, that might be in the future. But for the moment, again, I just want to leave us with some thoughts. That it's important to recognize food as a key marker of region, as a key part of romantic narratives, and as a way for characters to really engage with each other and with the reader. I mean, I think that there's something to be said for the way in which romance captures both, the erotic, but also the foodie. I don't know, something like that. That there's something appealing about both, the sexual chemistry between characters, but also the savor and satisfaction, and maybe even the eroticism of food. I don't know. There's a lot there. So anyway, that's a lot. I don't want to go on about this forever. I know this is TikTok, and also, YouTube, so we have to be a little bit constrained in our time. So that's it for today's guide, a Pisces guide to the pop. Let me try that again. That is all for today's edition of the Pisces guide to pop culture. I love talking about romance. So again, if you want to, send me a note, I'm happy to engage. And if you would like to buy my book, remember, it is called Country Road Romance. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookshop.org. So you can also visit my website, TJWest3, for those links. Please buy my book. Not to be desperate, but I'm desperate. Anyway, that's all for today. So I will be back tomorrow to talk about more things that I love and more of my Pisces emotional neediness. Take care, everyone.